Hello, and welcome to What the Fa with Gino. Fare, to make happen, to do. What the fa, you do. You make it happen. I don't know. I keep thinking there won't be any more What the Fa moments, but there are every day when I wake up. Every night when I watch TV, I see it happening. Peaceful protest turned violent overnight in Raleigh, North Carolina. They toppled and they hung a statue of a Confederate soldier. Yes, they took it down, then they drug it through the streets, and then they hung it from a light standard. This is like barbaric behavior. Barbaric. And they're allowed to do it. First, statues. They start with statues. They keep stepping up the grade. They keep stepping it up. In D.C., a Confederate soldier was torn down and set on fire by peaceful protesters. Remember, these are peaceful. In Portland, Oregon, this upsets me. George Washington's statue, I just found this out from the other day. George Washington's statue was torn down. This is the father of our country. His statue was torn down. But in Seattle, there's a statue of Lenin. Hasn't been touched. Hasn't been spray painted. Hasn't been torn down. No, not John Lennon. Not John Lennon. Vladimir Lenin. You know him. The communist theorist who founded Russia. The father of our country gets torn down, but the founder of Russia, no, he doesn't get torn down. What the fuck? I mean, again, he's the theorist, the communist theorist who founded Russia. Don't touch him. But Washington, you're down, buddy. I mean, let it sink in. Oh, God. Why aren't arrests being made? Why are arrests not being made? It makes no sense to me. How long are we going to let this go on? Our children have been brainwashed by their professors in university, and they're being paid $25 an hour by Antifa, funded by George Soros, all under the guise of support for Black Lives Matter. You know them, the peaceful organization. What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now. That's one of their chants. Dead cops. Now. Well, if that's not a peaceful protest, I don't know what is. Garrett Rolfe, you know him. The officer charged with first-degree murder of Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta. He's denied bail. He's going to spend a weekend in jail. Now remember this. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has not completed their investigation yet, but he's in jail for first-degree murder. First-degree murder. That means he thought about murdering this guy. He thought about it. He did it while he was committing a felony. That's first-degree murder. You were committing a felony. So the felony that he was committing was, what, locking this guy up for DUI? Was that the felony? And then as he was doing it, he thought, how can I shoot this guy? Maybe if he tries to escape, then I can shoot him. Maybe if he steals my stun gun, then he commits a felony, then I can kill him. Premeditated murder. First-degree murder they charge him with, no bail. Police officer doing his job. Doing his job. Back in Seattle, a major highway in Seattle blocked, and a car set on fire. So he must have had a Blue Lives Matter sticker on it or something, but the car was set on fire. But here's the good news. The police actually made an arrest. Big highway shut down. I don't know what they were doing there. Not much coverage on it. But one car was set on fire, so he had to be a conservative, I'm sure. So now the momentum's going the other direction, Seattle. You lock somebody up for a violent act, for peaceful protesting. You know, right now, Seattle residents are pleading for the police to restore law and order. That's what we were sworn to do. We were sworn to enforce law and order. These peaceful protesters have seized public and private property in Seattle. These citizens need help. You know, we sent troops to Grenada, or Grenada, however you want to say it, a foreign country. We sent troops to a foreign country to free American citizens, students. But now we won't send troops to free American citizens from Marxist radicals in our own country. The mayor and the Seattle government is allowing this. They're backing them. These people have weapons. I reported that yesterday. They have weapons. And reports of shots were being fired last night. I'll get into that later. Residents can't go out at night. The park across the street where all the tents are, only blacks are allowed in that park from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Even if you gave them the $10. Remember I reported on that. They asked every white person in CHOP to give a black person of their choice $10. And if they didn't, they knew who they were, and you don't belong there. Well, white people are not allowed in that park from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Blacks only. That's segregation. I thought we fought against that. I thought we put that in the past, segregation. Another Black Lives Matter chant that I saw the first time I heard it actually. When I say people, you say fight. People, fight. People, fight. Another peaceful chant from BLM. Defund the police. Defunding police will only lead to chaos. Unimaginable crime and corruption. Who's going to protect the community? Who's going to protect you and the community? Gangs are going to take over, just like in the other foreign countries. Now, the country of CHOP is located in the heart of Seattle. Armed patrols at the border, checking people. Armed with AK-47s, AR-15s, 9mm. And they're segregating black-only areas. Years to desegregate, and they're turning the clock back. Sooner or later, people are going to revolt, and that's going to result in a disaster. Well, I didn't think it would happen that soon, but it did happen. The summer of love, proclaimed by the mayor of Seattle, the summer of love has turned violent in CHOP. Early this morning, a citizen inside CHOP was shot to death. I don't know why, I don't know who the citizen was, but I do know this. Police are still not allowed in that area and were prevented. The police were prevented from entering CHOP to render any aid to the shot citizen. They were prevented. Were they prevented by the armed guards of CHOP, or were they prevented by the mayor and her cabinet? I don't know. But they're failing to enforce the rule of law. Police leadership has to take over. They have to take control of this area from the mayor and the cabinet. They got to. It can't go on. Public safety should be the priority. We swore an oath to serve and protect. Well, ain't nobody protecting those people. And then I saw on this continuing war on police, the firing of a Louisville police officer and shooting death of Breonna Taylor, a tragedy. Once again, it could have been avoided. They were serving a no-knock warrant. So, apparently, they did the no-knock to get her boyfriend, the drug dealer, because he's been stashing drugs in her apartment or house. I'm not sure if it's a house or an apartment. He, the drug dealer, the boyfriend, opened fire on police because he thought they were intruders. Ah, yes. They were intruders at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning whenever they did this no-knock. The police are shouting at the top of their lungs because I served warrants, many of them, with the SWAT team in Philadelphia. The police are shouting at the top of their lungs, police, police, put the gun down, police, police. He thought they were intruders. They were. They were being intruded on by the police. Once again, all we got to do is follow police instructions. There's no shootout. Nobody has to die. And did this girl? Did she know her boyfriend was a drug dealer and stashing drugs in her house? Did she not know that? So I'm thinking, how do we get rid of this? How can we stop this from happening? Well, we could send them notice that we're going to serve a warrant on you at 3:30 in the morning when you're really tired or asleep. Now, that could tip him off, and he may not be there. Or we can surround the building and then call them on the phone and say, you are surrounded, like the Mexican army did to the Alamo. Come out with your hands up. He decides to stay or fight. I don't know how else to do it. He either gives himself up or he decides to shoot it out. In this case, he decided to shoot it out. His girlfriend winds up dead, which is a shame. Really, really a shame. So I want to go to some good news now about police. I want to give a shout out to Simone Wingo. She is actually a retired police officer and from Dallas. And she has this organization, the Dallas Magnolias. And I want to shout out to them and congratulate and thank them for backing the police. They sent out pizzas to the entire Dallas Police Department, the entire department. Fratelli's Pizza fed over 1,000 officers. Fratelli's. Now, for the non-Italians out there, that translates to brothers. And I stand with all of my brothers who serve and protect these difficult times and dangerous times. I stand with them. And thank you, Fratelli's, and thank you, Dallas Magnolias, for thinking of the police in a good light. I really appreciate that. And this here, I'm just really worried about the Trump rally tonight because the Marxists are descending on the city right now. Some of them are already set up. But Trump made a statement, President Trump made a statement, any protesters, anarchists, agitators, looters, or lowlifes who are going to Oklahoma, please understand you will not be treated like you have been in New York, Seattle, and Minneapolis. It'll be a much different scene. And that's scary. That's scary. So I'd like to close with prayers for Tulsa, Oklahoma, as the Marxists descend on that city. Wish them a lot of luck for tonight. Gino, out.